Hello everyone. I have a bit of an intro here, some context and explanation that I want to give. If for some reason you don't care, you can skip ahead to the discussion and my thoughts. I don't know if I'm gonna further split up the discussion part into like different timestamps of certain points I'm making or certain things that I'm talking about, but I will at least have like intro and my thoughts. So my next video is going to be a book haul / adaptations video. The books I bought this year that have new / upcoming adaptations. And though I did not buy the book this year, I need to talk about Blonde. And it has to be its own separate video. If you saw my last video, it was a question to the viewers, to my subscribers, because when I was filming the book haul adaptations video, the first time, it was really long, and I just like get in my head about this disconnect that I think there is between what I mostly watch on YouTube, which is booktube videos, and a majority of those are 30 to 90 minutes for the most part. And I feel like most of my subscribers and people who watch my videos are more in the film community sphere, and long videos has not hit the film community the way that it has booktube. And especially because I usually get an influx of subscribers, whether it be like 5 new subscribers or like this summer, like 60 to 70 new subscribers. Thank you. I was so surprised, but the haul videos that I posted this summer, particularly my Criterion haul video, a lot of new subscribers, so thank you if you are new here. I really appreciate it, and I don't even know how to like further express my gratitude. And hello and welcome. But you know, I get an influx of subscribers usually during Criterion sales, and I know that that is very like specific film collector content, and I just get nervous that like people who end up subscribing put me in that box like exclusively to a degree. And so yeah, I had that video that I ended up filming because on my second try of recording the book haul adaptations video, I just didn't like where it was going necessarily, and I stopped halfway or partway and was like, hey, what do you guys think of long videos? Thank you to people who ended up commenting. I am no longer allowing this dilemma, so to speak, to take up space in my brain, because most of you were like, yeah, I like long videos. Like, I don't care. And particularly thank you to those who like mentioned how they like the way that I like talk about things, and they could just like listen to me talk, which is nice because I'm a talkative person, and that is partially why I make videos in the first place, to get these thoughts out and allow people to hear them and have conversations. Anyway, so thank you for people who replied. I'm not gonna be thinking about that anymore. Plus, my channel is ultimately the videos that I want to do, and I didn't really want to split it up anyway, but I do need to split up Blonde. It's being its own separate video, so I'm gonna post this first, and then at least in a couple days will be the full book haul and talking about those adaptations. But more so with this video, because I have separate times that I ended up filming that first try, which was an hour and 56 minutes. That first attempt, the second attempt, which was around like 40 minutes, but I, stopped part of the way. And then I did end up filming again where I was like specifically stopping and doing it in like increments so that it'd be easier to edit, as well as if I did end up splitting the video up into various parts, it was kind of already split up, the way that I filmed it. So there are 3 different video footages of me talking about Blonde, and I don't script anything. I just have certain points that I wanted to make. So in one attempt, I could have talked about A and then B and then C, and then in another attempt, I could have talked about A and then talked about D. So there's gonna be some like overlapping information, perhaps a little bit. I tried to limit it as much as possible, but there may be a case of me needing to repeat that information again, so you have that context of how I went from like how I get to one thing from the other. Because if I just have this D over here, then it may not make sense without mentioning A. And obviously C isn't going to make sense without B and without A. You get what I'm saying? So it's going to be kind of strange with the clips and me trying to make it cohesive into one video. And also, the third time that I was filming, I finally realized that there's a lamp behind me, and it was an eyesore, so I finally moved it. But, like, you're gonna see a lamp appearing and disappearing, so there's that. Okay. So anyway, I don't think that that's going to be a problem as much with the book haul, with the full book haul. I am just going to do one video, except for Blonde here. But hopefully that's not as much an issue with that book haul, repeating certain things for fuller context. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. This is my intro. Thank you to new subscribers. Thank you for watching, and I want to know your thoughts. Okay, then I have a title that I wasn't going to talk about, or at least include here, because technically I've had this for like more than a year now, so it's not really part of the book haul, but teaser trailer has been released, and a full trailer has been released, and if you know me, you probably know that I'm like anticipating this movie, and am excited for it, to a degree, yeah, to a degree I would say. And that is Blonde. Blonde, the novel here, this gargantuan brick. Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. Controversial, to say the least. I feel like I am in a unique spot, though, in terms of, like, I'm in the middle of a Venn diagram, and the circles of the Venn diagram are all these different areas and, like, spheres of the internet that I partake in and consume, because there's of course the literary community where this is a pretty big staple, I feel like, especially if you're someone who pays attention to book awards and more like things of literary merit. Joyce Carol Oates is a pretty well-known author. She's been writing for decades. I would consider her to be in the same tier, like on par with other authors like Margaret Atwood, Cormac McCarthy, Neil Gaiman. They're just more well-known, I would say, partially because they do a little bit more genre fiction, and they've had a lot of adaptations over the past, like, few... I just bit my cheek. They've had adaptations over the past at least, like, few decades, so not to say that Joyce Carol Oates hasn't had adaptations and hasn't, I don't know, I just feel like she hasn't necessarily become more of a mainstream, like, commercial name, but if you're into literature, then I feel like you probably know about or have heard of Joyce Carol Oates. So, also, by the way, Blonde was first published in the year 2000 and was a Pulitzer Prize finalist, as well as a National Book Award finalist. Joyce Carol Oates herself has said that this is one of her works that she will be most known for and most remembered for, which I hate that I'm phrasing it like that because it makes it sound like she's gonna die soon. She is 84, so I don't know how much longer we really have with her, which, by the way, since I'm talking about her, technically I can also add another book here, because I also got the journals of Joyce Carol Oates from 1973 to 1982. I found this used for $10, okay? Like, brand new condition, am I right? This is not all, though. Okay? There was no mention of this in the listing. It's signed. Amazing. $10? Are you kidding me? I don't know if there are other editions or like further installments of her journals, but I would love to know if are any from around the time that she was writing Blonde, because I don't know that much about her research and I don't know, just like everything that went into Blonde, especially considering it was supposed to be a short story. And it somehow turned into an almost 1,000-page book. Granted, I think that my edition is like a little bit shorter than others, so it's a little longer, but still, how do you... I just want to know, like, her thought process and what she was most intrigued by that made her want to continue this story and, like, flesh it out a lot more. And then also, like, I have no idea how much of a fan she was of Marilyn before she wrote this, and, like, what her thoughts were about her. I have so many questions, and so, yeah, I don't know that much in terms of, like, the making of this book, but it is a fictionalization of Marilyn Monroe's life, which she has always been adamant about. It's not a biography. So, let me get to the movie information. It's also premiering at Venice, which is why I have it in this, like, slot, in this placement of order. Yeah, so directed and written by Andrew Dominik, and it stars Ana de Armas, Adrien Brody, Bobby Cannavale, Julianne Nicholson, Scoot McNairy, Caspar Phillipson, and a lot of other people who's, like, I mean, I know that everyone is not necessarily, like, named in the book as their real-life counterpart, but there's, like, a lot of names that I was like, who are these people? Like, when I was looking at the cast, trying to figure out which names to write down. And then after Venice, it will be on Netflix later this month, September 28th. So, I have limited time to finish this. I'm not in the middle of it. Like, I'm not halfway through, but I am in the process of reading Blonde. And so, yeah, the full trailer has been released. The teaser trailer also came out before that. And the images, if there's one thing that I'm looking forward to the most with this, it's just, like, the recreation of everything that, like, okay, not everything, obviously, but everything that they have recreated for the film. The scope of the work is incredible, in my opinion. Like, literally, the work that they put into making the costumes and making, like, each scene and each shot look exactly like photos that Marilyn took, or, like, movies that she was in. Like, the color grading of every single thing is amazing. Like, okay, let's just... But the images that look like this, I mean, this is super shiny, so sorry about the glare, but the colors are exactly the same, which there's not a lot of saturation here. And then you look at the images of, like, them filming, you know, like, in the movie, they're filming Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and it's so vibrant because that's the way the movie is. And just, like, then there's pictures, let's see, oh, this is her journal. I don't know why I thought there would be pictures in there. Then there's, like, the images of her in the field with, like, Arthur Miller, and those are also really subdued in terms of, like, saturation, and just, they look so, it just looks so perfect. So, in terms of that part of the film, it looks amazing. I'm trying to, like, reserve judgment for other things. Already it's, like, controversial. Even before the trailer dropped, it was controversial. I feel like so much has happened with Blonde because of, like, Netflix towards the beginning of the year seemed like they did not want to release it. They were like, oh no, we need to shove this under the rug. That's what it seemed like they were trying to do. And then the director was saying certain things that I think people were, like, blowing out of context and just out of proportion a lot. Basically, he was saying that there's something in it to offend everyone, which I just agree with, because you're talking about Marilyn Monroe's life and her life in Hollywood, and just, like, when you, in addition to Hollywood, when you know her story, there's just so much that happens that's like, okay, yeah, obviously there's something in it to offend everyone because of everything that she went through. Like, I kind of understand what he means. And then, furthermore, she's a Hollywood star, and of course, Hollywood did not actually want her to be a star, so to speak. Okay, I'm trying, like, not to get heated. Okay. But But I've seen some, like, mixed things on Blonde from the general public, from film fans, and it's bothering me. Basically, that's it. Moral of the story is that it's bothering me. So, oh yeah, I was mentioning, like, the circles of the Venn diagram, and I'm in the middle because I went through Joyce Carol Oates and her prominence as an author. That's the literary sphere. Then there's the film sphere where, you know, people have been anticipating this for a while, maybe reading the articles where Netflix was trying to, like, cover it up in a way, things that the director said, blah blah blah. And then, of course, just, like, film viewers' opinions on the movie based on the trailer. And then there's this, like, third sphere of people who are into film, that I watch content from or follow on social media, but film specifically isn't, like, what they talk about. Maybe they're really into costuming of film and television, or maybe they're really into, like, social commentary presented in media, including film, things like that. And I just found, like, the most like, outrage from this kind of group, where in a way it's like a conglomerate of these other areas. I just felt like it was really weird, particularly with, like, outrage that I saw from it being based on a fictional novel. I particularly saw one girl. Okay, maybe this should be its own separate video now that I think about it. Let's talk about Blonde. I might do that. Okay. Anyway, I saw this one person replying to either the replies of a tweet or comments under a YouTube video, and literally they were just repeating the same thing that was, like, in all capital letters, like, this is not a biopic, it's based on a fictional novel. And I'm like, that's what novel is, first of all. Like, novel implies that it is fictional, because you don't, that is the term, a novel. Okay, so there was that. But then also, it made it seem like people didn't realize that historical fiction exists, and that stories like this probably make up, like, half of the historical fiction genre. And I think that because it's Marilyn, and because Marilyn is a figure who lived more recently, it's stirred up a lot of, like, feelings, basically, because I don't think that the backlash that I saw, I mean, again, I'm speaking from, like, my own experience of, like, what I saw on Twitter and what I saw on YouTube, basically. I don't think there would have been that backlash or, like, outrage if it had been another movie about Cleopatra or Marie Antoinette or Anne Boleyn or Shakespeare or Shakespeare's wife. Like, how is this not, I mean, I have not read Hamnet, but, like, how is this not similar to, at least, Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which for the past, like, 2 years, year and a half or so, people have been eating up. Like, people in that same sort of sphere who were like, what is this movie based on a fictional novel about Marilyn Monroe's life? Those same people eating up Hamnet, can I just say. Which is fine. Which I guess to a degree is fine, because we're all hypocritical in some ways. And I know that I'm being biased because I love Marilyn Monroe and I also like Joyce Carol Oates, despite me not even having read that many of her works. But I like her as a person also. Like, Eric Carl Anderson, like, interviewed her in, oh my god, was that in 2020? I think so. And she's just this little old lady who has written, like, very acclaimed books and stories. I feel like she's more of a short story collection person, writer. Or maybe she's written, like, 50 novels, so I don't know what I'm saying that for. And I don't think it's weird for historical fiction like that to exist or to be adapted, because ultimately it's authors contextualizing the events and situations of a historical figure's life, of a person's life, and shaping them in specific scenes. Like, we know that the dialogue is not exactly real. We know that, and I mean, granted, I think this is something that you learn as you get older. You go into a biopic or any movie that is surrounding a person that existed in real life, knowing that it's not going to be 100% accurate. It's going to have some sort of a focus. It's going to be biased to an extent. And the filmmakers are going to probably frame things in a way that is aiding their overall message or the way that they're trying to portray the figure. Or perhaps they're using the figure for an overall message. You know, so, I mean, I'm wary about that kind of thing. I mean, hell, a couple of the biography or autobiographies / memoirs that I read earlier this year pertaining to Marilyn, I was like, I can't tell if this person is genuine or like this is sort of a cash grab and an exploitation of Marilyn. So, again, kind of continuing with thoughts of conflicted feelings and people being hypocritical and biased. You know, but I think reading historical fiction, I think watching biopics, like, we know that these conversations did not happen exactly as they're playing out in the scene that we're reading or that we're watching. I don't know. I just think that people are being dumb about it, to say the least. Okay. In particular, I saw one person that I follow mention how, because I also think that is very relevant with the way that people are reacting. Marilyn has been in the conversation of things for a few, like, events of this year, particularly with Kim Kardashian wearing her dress at the Met Gala, and destroying it. And I saw somebody that I follow mention that if Ana de Armas had gone to the Met Gala and wear that dress, people wouldn't have been as upset about it because they were just like hating on Kim Kardashian. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but like, no, I don't say that, because that dress, technically, historical costuming, the best way to preserve it is to like stick it in a drawer and never touch it. Never let it see the light of day, the light of artificial lights. Don't touch it. Just let it sit in a drawer. That's it. Don't put it on a mannequin. Don't let anyone see it. I mean, that's not ideal, obviously, because we want to be able to see it and we want to be able to study it. But I don't care who wanted to wear the dress. They should not have been able to wear the dress. Okay? Okay. All this conversation, and the movie's not even out yet. And I haven't finished this book. Is that all I have to say? I swear there was like more, but I think I'm good. And I guess that this is going to be a separate section, a separate video on its own. So I guess those are my thoughts on Blonde that I just needed to get off my chest. And I'd love to know if you are anticipating this movie. I think it's like almost 3 hours. I'm excited, but I'm going to be wary going into it, and I'm going to try to avoid like other people's opinions before I watch it, but I know that I'm going to want to be like a part of conversations and discussions, or at least read and like see what other people are thinking and saying. And I'm also very curious how many people will chime in and like not, I mean, I get it. It's fine if you don't know that much about Marilyn, but how many people are going to come across like they know what they're talking about? I'm also very curious. I want to know what Joyce Carol Oates is thinking. Oh yeah, wait, I didn't even say that this isn't even the first adaptation of Blonde. Oh my gosh, it's not. In 2001, the year after Blonde was published, it was made into, or at least it aired in the year afterwards, a TV series, mini-series of Blonde. I don't know how well it did, and so I'd love to know Joyce Carol Oates' thoughts on that, on this adaptation, if she's gonna see it. I don't know, maybe she's gonna avoid it. And then also studios and like Hollywood, because I kind of hate how like Fox still kind of seems like we own her and she's our commodity. And then of course the estate of Marilyn Monroe, which I don't love all the decisions that they've made, but I do like that they are defending Ana de Armas as Marilyn, because I think that she's going to be great. I don't really care that I can hear her accent. It's a fictionalization anyway of Marilyn's life, so it's fine. Though I do think that a lot of people will go into this expecting there to be more accuracy, which I feel like they would do. Okay, I can't keep talking about it, but I do feel like they would do, because it's visual. You know, okay, this is enough. I'm wrapping this up. I'd love to know your thoughts on Blonde. I probably am going to edit this before this other video that I'm technically supposed to be filming right now. So, thank you for watching this. I don't know how to end this. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.